What's up, Lego builders? Welcome back to Coconut Brick Studios, and today I'm going to be showing you guys an in-depth look at this minifig scale custom Republic gunship. Some of you guys have probably tuned into the live streams and have seen me putting this bad boy together. This gunship was designed by a guy named M5 Builds on Instagram. You can look him up. I'll put a link to his Instagram page down below in the description. It contains just over 1,400 pieces and costs anywhere from $160 to $200 to build. The reason there's such a big price range right there is because M5, he only sells the instructions, so you get in contact with him via Instagram and you will work it out there, and he'll send you a document that is the instructions to build this as well as the part list of all the parts you're going to need. So you'll take that parts list and put it on Bricklink, and you can look up all the parts there, and depending on where you get the parts from and how much they cost, that will change how much your gunship is. This one cost me about $177, but I did have some of the pieces already. At the end of the video, make sure you stick around because I will be giving you my in-depth thoughts as to what I think about this build, how it shapes up to Lego's version, and if it's worth buying or not. So sit back, grab a snack, and let's take a look. So I'm just going to start at one end of the ship, and we're going to go through all of the details, the designs, functions, just everything. That way you guys can get the best possible idea of whether or not you would like to build this for yourself. Starting out, you can see I put a little minifigure here to kind of help show the scale. This is minifig scale, which is really nice. Up here in the front, you've got your classic ball turrets. Nothing too special about that front. I think the first thing that really sets this gunship apart from the rest is this panel right here. All of Lego's gunships have some kind of play function right here, whether it's a hatch that opens up to reveal a mobile command center, or maybe some missiles or something like that, or a Bacta tank. But there's nothing right here, just a smooth plating. And then right here, this is where the bubble turret would normally go. That is pretty iconic to most gunships. However, this design does not have any function that will allow for a bubble turret connection. He did, however, put down a couple of light bluish gray tiles to kind of signify where that would go. I'm not sure why he did that, but that's what this is supposed to represent. Moving on up top, we've got the two cockpits. So both cockpits are identical. You've just got a seat as well as a control panel. I'm very happy with the detail of the cockpits. I love how the seats are brick built. You can fit a minifigure in there pretty easily. There are no studs or anything, so he just plops right in there, and then you can put the cockpit hatch down. The only thing I don't like about the cockpit area is how the cockpit pieces are connected. It's just a single 1x1 clip that goes on that stud right there, and you can see that means that these things will kind of move and wiggle around. So sometimes if you knock it, it'll knock these cockpits askew, but it's not a huge deal. Moving on up here, we've got the missile turrets. So these are actually modified missile turrets. The actual model is shorter than this. I modified these because I felt like they were a little bit short and I wanted the extra length. So this is more reminiscent of the official Lego version. Moving on to the back, you've kind of got the main bulk of the missile launcher, and he added some really cool little details on the back. You can see you've got the missile racks. They are really small. They don't come out or move anything, but I just like that attention to detail that you can see the exposed missile belt, because that is what the actual gunship looks like. On the back, we've got some more detailing, just a little vent right here, and then underneath that, you've got the rear ball turret, which does rotate up and down pretty easily. You can get it to go to the side a little bit, but it is pretty stiff and a little difficult. Moving on to the wings, we have one of the most unique aspects of this gunship, in my opinion, and that is this snot technique. So you can see these wings are actually brick built. It's just Lego on its side, which up until very recently I had never seen done before on a gunship. So this was the first time I saw that, and I like that because it makes the wings nice and thick compared to most other gunships will use just plate coming down out of it. This is another section of the build that I modified as well. So these are actually only supposed to be about that long, I believe. So I made them 3 bricks longer because I felt like they were too short, and I also don't like how skinny they are. So when I get some more bricks in, I'm actually going to experiment with making them wider, probably about 1 brick wide, so they'll be about that wide. On each wing, he's got the automatic laser bubble turret. You can see it's the same on the top and the bottom. It's just a half sphere like this that you connect on the bottom and the top. Now, one of the last but probably coolest sections of this gunship is the hangar area or the troop compartment, you can see he did snot doors as well, which is pretty impressive. So not only did he do snot on the wings, but he did them on the doors as well. The nice thing about using snot is it allowed him to create actual windows in these gunship doors. Most gunships, like the Lego version, will just have like some dark trans tiles right here that will give the illusion of a window. This, however, is the real deal. You can actually see through into the hangar area, which is really cool. Such a fun detail. There is a downside to using bricks instead of plate for the doors, and that is these doors are extremely delicate. You can see there's some pretty interesting connection pieces going on here, so you have to be very careful about where you touch and where you move the doors, because some sections of this door are only connected to a specific part. So you, like right back here, you can see there's no connection right there. So you do have to kind of familiarize yourself with how this is built so you know where to open and close it, and it can break pretty easily when opening it. The inside is pretty simple. You've got a flat area for staging troops and a little bit of detail up on the top. You've got like some piping and other random details. This is another section of the gunship I'm going to have to modify, as you're not really able to hold a bunch of clone troopers and be able to shut the door at the same time. So you can really only put clone troopers on that middle row if you want to be able to shut the doors. Obviously, if you're not going to shut the doors, you can stick some clone troopers out here. One last thing I wanted to show you guys, there is no door back here. Most gunships will have like a little ramp or a door that comes down in the back, which your clone troopers can come out of, or you can drive some speeder bikes out of. Honestly, that's not a big deal to me, as I rarely ever use that function, and I feel like most people don't either. But I figured it was worth mentioning in case there are people who do really like that aspect. So that pretty much wraps up everything I wanted to show you guys for the features and functions of this gunship. However, there are still some very important things to discuss. So that wraps up everything I wanted to show you guys about this gunship. But before we end, I want to give you guys some of my thoughts on the build and how I think it shapes up to other gunships out there. I've built quite a few gunships in my day, it being one of my favorite vehicles in the Star Wars galaxy. And I must say, out of all the ones I've come across and seen, this one is probably one of the best in my opinion, for a few reasons. First being, I think it's sized very nicely. It's pretty much minifig scale. It is a little bit smaller than Lego's version, which is okay in my opinion, because Lego's version is a little bit big, a little bit bulky. This one is a little bit more streamlined and just fits into smaller MOCs so much better. Second, it's pretty sturdy. Obviously it's not a playset, so you can't just pick it up and grab it, swoosh it around and stuff. You can pick it up, however you do have to be kind of careful and strategic where you put your hands and stuff. But as far as like the wings and the body go, everything is put together very soundly, a lot of very sturdy connections, and it's just overall really easy to build. The instructions were easy to follow. There are some pretty cool techniques, however, there wasn't anything that I just couldn't wrap my head around. So even if you're not the most advanced builder, this is a gunship that you would be able to tackle pretty easily. The third and final thing that I really think sets this gunship apart from others is how cost effective it is. Now for me as a MOC builder, in my opinion, I feel like gunships are more of a support vehicle, or they come in as a support role. This isn't going to be really the main focal point of your MOC, right? You're going to have a large battle, a large landscape, a large building or base, or maybe something like a large UCS scaled ATTE that will kind of dominate the center of your MOC. So that being said, I kind of want a gunship that's a little bit smaller scaled, and that was very important to me going into this build, because I wanted to be able to replicate them in the future, because I love gunships, I want to buy a bunch of them, but I don't want to break the bank buying a bunch of Legos versions or the Brick Vault version, which is really cool but is a lot more expensive and is slightly bigger and has a lot more pieces. There are a couple things that I don't like about this gunship, however. Really one of my biggest reservations about getting this was how small the wings and these front missile turrets were. I felt it made the ship look kind of comical and cartoonish, just because you had this big body with this tiny upper section. However, I was able to fix that pretty easily, like I showed you guys earlier, making the missile turrets longer as well as making the wings longer, and I probably will be experimenting with making them wider as well. So it's pretty easy to customize. If there's an aspect of this build that you don't really like or doesn't sit well with you, you can fix it pretty easily, as it's a pretty simple build. So overall, if you're looking for a simple gunship build with great detail that's sturdy and looks great in MOCs, I would absolutely recommend the M5 gunship. Like I said in the beginning, I put the link to M5 Build's Instagram page in the description. You can get in contact with him there if you're looking for instructions. All that being said, thank you so much for watching the video, guys. Don't forget to let me know what you thought down below in the comments, what your favorite part of the gunship is, if there's anything you would change. And as always, if you liked the video, don't forget to leave me a big thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any future content. But until next time, happy building.